Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're pleased to have you with us. Today, we're going to be talking about optimizing your online donation process. And for those of you that joined us yesterday for fundraising on your website, A Guide to Getting Started, we welcome you back. So thanks for joining us. And if you're new, welcome today. We're going to talk about some of the more advanced fundraising practices that we recommend. So let's get started. A couple of quick things about our organization. We've been working with nonprofits for 43 years, and those organizations include public media stations, libraries, health and human service organizations, museums, environmental groups, and animal welfare groups. We are a full-service fundraising agency, which means we provide direct mail, digital, research, and much more. Let's go on to some exciting stuff. Why you should optimize or improve, optimize can be improve, your online donation process. Today we're going to talk about easing things for your donors, convincing them to give, and giving them compelling content. So these should all be on your mind when you're designing your landing pages and donation forms. We want to make it as easy as possible for the donor to act. And by act, we mean give. And for those reasons, let's spend some time talking about the anatomy of a landing page. So let's define our terms so that we're all on the same page. What is a landing page versus what is a donation form? A landing page is where you send a person to take an action or where you send your donor to make a gift. Is your form a part of the page where the person actually goes and lands, or the part of the page where they actually enter their donation information, their credit card information, they select their gift size, that kind of thing? These are two different things. So we'll discuss the importance of making sure both are optimized. Now, imagine your donation form. Here are the things that you want to concentrate on. And I'll bring up an example of this later on in the next slide, but actually a photo example of a site that we think does a really good job of this. So you want the headline and body copy to match the message of your campaign. So imagine someone has landed on your homepage and seen a specific image and clicked on it, or your donation button and clicked on it. And then when they go to this landing page to make a donation, you want the headline and body copy to be the same as what they saw when they first got to your website. All visuals and images and photos should be the same. You should have a clear donate button, and you want to specifically say the words donate or give now, for example, rather than submit or complete your gift. Donate and give now complete the action of giving, and we'll talk more about that language, that specific language, in just a minute. And then you want to also make sure you're telling the donor the value of their gift and what it would mean to your organization to receive that gift. This can be done through telling them that $25 will purchase X, or $50 will purchase something, or $100 will purchase something. You want to be very specific, and you want to tell them how far their gift will actually go. So here's the example that I promised. Covenant House is not a client of our agency, but we do think they have a really good landing page and donation form. You can clearly see that their imagery, this photo matches their mission. The image is moving and it will speak to the donor. The headline has a great call to action and indicates that they can actually save a child, which is very emotional and impactful. In the middle of the screen, there's an explanation of what their gift would do, and there's value indicated to allow the donor to know how far their gift will actually go. And you can see easy to use buttons for actually making the donation. So this is very simple, attractive, clean, and easy, which is everything that you want to give the donor. So we realize that your software may have some limitations. Basically, you just want to make sure that you have the most convenient path, the easiest experience possible for the user. That's really the goal, whatever that means for you and your capabilities. We realize some of you kind of have a multi-step process, and that it might be necessary for you to have that multi-step giving process. But whenever possible, keep it to as few actions as possible, and be very clear. Just think about ease and convenience at all times. So you want simple user flow. You want a clean, simple design. You want a clear process, and you want the least amount of effort on behalf of the donor as possible. If they could make this donation in under 30 seconds, that's really ideal. That's what you're looking for. So ask yourself, are these steps that I'm asking them to go through necessary? And we can talk more about that now. Something else that I really want you to think about is always consider mobile users when setting up your landing page and donation form. Remember that 50% of all traffic comes from someone using a mobile device. And with Facebook, usage for Facebook is 90% mobile. So that means almost everybody is using their phone when they're looking at Facebook. So if you were running Facebook ads and you had someone click out to your donation page, they're going to be on a cell phone when they're looking at your donation page and going through the process. And remember that 32% of nonprofit donations are made on a cell phone, so you want to test your donation form and process using that mobile device. Use your own cell phone to test your processes. So when we talk about optimizing for mobile, consider the donation experience and you're optimizing for mobile, and remember that you want to optimize imagery so that it's visually appealing, so that content on a cell phone looks really good. You want to make sure that it's properly compressed for quick loading, and this requires that you actually look at your landing page and donation form on a cell phone, as I mentioned before. You want to optimize the landing page. You want to make sure to be mobile-minded with everything that you do, and you want to test. And I love talking about the tests that we recommend. So it's the grandma test. You would like to ask somebody who's not as savvy or familiar with online processes to go through your online donation form, both on desktop and on a cell phone, and see if they can make the donation very easily. If it's very frustrating for them, ask them what frustrates them, and stop and see if you can kind of fix that and make it easier. So always remember the grandma test. I think this next slide is just so valuable and speaks so much to what we do recommend and what we don't recommend. So you'll see that there are so many donation form fields that you could possibly have. But here are the things that you think you might need, but you may not need. So you don't need a Mr. or Mrs. You don't need a general comment section. You don't need a how did you find out about us, or have you given to us before. You don't need a birthday. You don't need a lot of this information. And when you ask someone to give this information, you're really just requiring that they take more time on your donation form, which can inhibit the gift. So think the fewest form fields possible while still collecting the minimum amount of information your organization needs. The low cost of something like an annual phone append is worth cutting some fields out for. And the more form fields you have means you may be losing donations without even realizing it. So I really love this slide. Just cutting out some of the questions that you're asking will get you more donations completed. So in this example, the headline copy talks about something that the donor wants to do, which is saving a child in need, and that provides value to the donor. So the sentence you see in the headline here is also very short and easy to digest and quick and easy to understand. So at the top, save a child facing homelessness now. That's such a clean, clear message that provides value to the donor. Then in a different area of the landing page, you see that this organization has explained to the donor how much their gift actually means. You can see that there's additional value provided by the list of things that their gift will accomplish. You know, a certain amount of kids will be sheltered nightly, residential programs, things like that. All of these facts provide value. So for your affiliate, we recommend that you think, what are the things that we do that provide value to the donor? And how do we put these things on our landing page to make sure that they're specific enough that a donor would actually want to give? So let's talk a little bit about visuals. And we did talk about this earlier, but you want to make sure that the image on the landing page is incredibly compelling. And sometimes that means an emotional image or a touching image rather than a happy image. Of course, your mission is to build homes and help families, and that's a very happy and good thing. But you may want to see if you have images that are a little more emotional or touching. Something like a child looking into a camera, their eyes looking at the donor, that's very emotional and compelling. Things like that can be emotional, and they can motivate the donor to carry through and make the gift that you want. So make sure that the colors and copies mirror the other parts of the campaign that are going on. If you have some emails or you have some digital ads or homepage graphics, just make sure that all of those things look the same. Now, let's talk about the ever important sustainers, how to get the gifts from this group. Everybody's interested in monthly donors and sustainers and wants to know how to get the gifts. So let's talk about that. Okay, and I have some very strong feelings about this particular segment of donors, so I hope this is helpful to you. On your donation form, you really want to make sure to highlight the monthly gift option. Every donation form has different capabilities, so no worries if your form is not able to do what we're showing here, what we've highlighted in this example, but try to do as much as you can. You may have to play around with what your form can do, but if you're able to have one-time gifts be separate from monthly gifts, that will help increase the number of monthly gift donations you get. You can see how this example, this image is just so clear. Someone can click on the left side and give a one-time gift, or on the right side and do a monthly gift. Very clear and easy for the donor to understand. An important tip about the language you use, make sure you call it a monthly gift. Sustainer is actually a nonprofit industry term and not one that all donors know or understand or use. So you want to make things easy for the donor and don't require that they come to you. Go to them with easy language. Now, finally, at the end, and we touched on this a very little bit earlier, you want to make sure that at the end of the donation form, when someone's putting their name, their amount, their credit card information, that you have a button that's either labeled donate or donate now rather than submit. You want the language on the button to match the action that they're taking. Submit is very kind of cold and formal. We recommend that donate now is something you use. It's very powerful and compelling. That's a good word to use. So let's see. A few more things about sustaining giving. I love this, but this is definitely advanced, and I'm not sure if some of your websites are able to do this, but it's something to look into. If your website is capable of doing this, we strongly suggest you incorporate a dynamic ask string that changes to lower gift amounts when the monthly option is selected. So you can see from the examples on this slide that when a one-time gift is selected, ask amounts are higher, so that's more like $50 and $100. But when a monthly giving amount is selected, then things go down to a lower amount, like a $5 or $10 or $15, something that seems traditionally appropriate for a monthly gift. So if your website is able to do this, I would really recommend that you put this in place. It is a little more advanced. I know a lot of websites are not able to, but if you can do it, it's a strong option. Okay, we kind of went through all of that pretty fast. So let's talk a little bit about 3 things that you can do right now. And before we get into questions, I'll run through these things. So remember to remove extra form fields. I don't think I can emphasize that one enough, and it might be the easiest possible thing you can do with the capabilities of your site. You really don't need all of the things that we went through, that we showed on the one slide before. You don't need to do the Mr. or Mrs. And you possibly don't even need to ask for things like phone number, because you can do a phone append. All of these things are just additional kind of stuff for the donor to fill out and can really impede the giving process. So we recommend that you consider very carefully the minimum number of form fields that you actually need. And then review the copy or language that you use on the site. Is it very easy to understand? Is it short? Is it compelling? Could somebody read through your donation form in a second or two? You want them to have that easy of an experience. We're talking phrases, one sentence, things like that. So just be compelling and be super short. And then finally, when you're optimizing your donation form or kind of fixing it up, maybe after this webinar, we really do recommend that you think about monthly giving when you make changes to the donation form. So are you able to make things more monthly giving specific? I think that will really carry you through and be very helpful. Everybody wants to increase the number of monthly donors that they have, so I very much recommend that you think about monthly giving. So let's go on to some of the questions. I do see some have come in. And remember, you can chat yours into the chat box here if you have any, and I'm happy to answer them. Okay, so, this is a great question. Someone said, what is a phone append? Thank you so much for asking that. Yes, I should clarify. So this comes from the slide where we were talking about all the fields that you can remove from your data form. If you don't want to ask for phone numbers, and we recommend you remove that field that forces someone to put their phone number in, just because it's an additional step for them to take. It takes more time, more input, and means that the donor is less likely to continue making the gift. You can do what's called a mass phone append on your database of donors, and you can find all of the phone numbers for, I think the rates are about half of the file they should be able to find phone numbers for. Phone numbers are not as necessary maybe as they used to be. I would rather ask someone for their email address over their phone number, because you can perform this phone append. And so companies like us at Carl Bloom, we're very happy to perform a phone append for you. It means you just give us your data file. We return it to you with about half of the file getting phone numbers, now having phone numbers, and you import that into your database. So very helpful. We have another question. So that is, can you talk more about how to carry images and photos throughout the campaign elements? Yes, we talked about that a little bit, so let me explain a little more. So when we at Carl Bloom are doing a campaign for a Habitat affiliate, we make sure to use that affiliate's own photos and stories in our mailings and our emails and social media ads and on the website and on the homepage and donation form too, everything that we discussed today. So we want to use the photos and stories that matter and represent you, and we want the donor to see all of those photos all over the place so that they recognize your messaging. So perhaps you have an image of a child outside of a house or inside of a house, and the story is that that child now has a new home, and it's a wonderful, heartwarming story. We'll select one or two very attractive images that will speak to the donor. Those will go on the direct mail piece. They'll go on the email, and they'll go on your home page of your website, and they'll also go on your donation form. So where we talked, I'm going to go back in our presentation just a little bit, where we talked about this image of this woman who looks to be very unhappy and could really use the help of the donor. This is the kind of image in general that we would say you want to appear in direct mail, in emails, and on your website. That's what we recommend about carrying the images and photos throughout the campaign elements. And so as I said, when we kind of concluded yesterday's call, we're very happy to continue these educational webinars with you. If there's something that you want to learn about, if you're interested in learning more about how direct mail can work for you, how it can make you more money, how you can acquire more donors, we can definitely do educational webinars on that. I think that, and I've got one more question and then I'll go ahead. Someone says, do you recommend that we set up a donation/ask like this sample you showed on Covenant House on the homepage of the website? That's very interesting. And I think this person might mean saying something along the lines of make a $50 gift today or a $100 gift today, but saying that on the homepage. I think that kind of language is completely fine. If you have a graphic or image that's on the homepage and you want to be very specific about the amount of money you're trying to raise, and then once they click on the graphic or image, they go to your donation form, I think that's very nice. We know that people are really compelled by specific amounts. So saying to someone, we need $50 right now to accomplish this goal is very powerful. It's quantifiable, it's understandable and short. So yeah, I think that's a great thing to do. And I would say, go ahead and run a campaign like that for a little while. If you feel like you're not getting the traction you wanted, you can always go back. I love the idea of testing these things. So thanks for that question. And one other thing I wanted to say was oh yes, and someone does ask that they missed the class yesterday. We will actually post these videos and PowerPoints on our website, so you can certainly have them. And you can email me anytime if you need more information. We're very happy to help. And really the inspiration for this webinar and the one yesterday was attending the affiliate conference last month. And we saw that there was such an opportunity for education and improvement when it came to online fundraising. So that's what we're here for. We're here to help you fundraise better. And we truly believe that if you could get a lot of these online processes kind of whipped into shape by the holiday fundraising season, which is 6 or 7 months away, you'll be ready to rock and roll and have one of the best fundraising seasons you've ever had. So please do email me if you have any questions. We appreciate your time today. We will make these PowerPoints available on the website. And have a great day, and thanks again for joining us.